once again be reactivated. Remember, I told you couldn't nobody come in a mythical form.
Yeah.
But now you're gonna be able to see people's mythical form in their physical presence in the 3D. It'll be clear as day. Oh, she's an ogre. She's a fairy. He's a gnome. Right? You'll be able to recognize them, but they still gonna look human. That's the Earth rule. On Earth, everybody, all higher evolved beings, got to take on the form of the human. And this is what happened when a lot of those reptilians, we didn't know that killing them was going to make them turn into us over time. The more you kill them, the more like us they look.
It's like that?
Yeah. That's what the story, you see the Great Wall with Tom Cruise?
Yeah, yeah.
You remember them beasts, they kept killing them?
Okay.
And every time you kill one, they become more and more like a human because it's the highest frequency in the energy field that matches their frequency coming from where they from. So they the top species where they from. We the top species here. So if they stay here and you keep killing them because they obviously recognize they don't belong here, and you keep killing them every time they come back, when they start taking on human form, they go through stages of what's called ichthyosis. So they got these big scales. That means they almost human. They next incarnation, kill them up again. He gonna come back next time. He's just gonna have ashy skin, and then he gonna look like one of us.
Damn. Since that time, Rod, you said you pushed a button. Was there another incarnation before you known as Rod Hayes that you've been down here, my brother?
Yeah. I used to read, okay, so my average lifespan was around 90 to 100 years since then. And I always came back in the Louisiana area, or the Mississippi area. And I always remember being a toddler, going to my big mama house. When she was in Louisiana, we used to catch a flat raft, and the dude used to row us to her house. And then when we get to her house, it's like she got a piece of land in the middle of the swamp. When we get in there, and this was my favorite memory, and I think that's why I carry so many lifetimes of remembering it, because it happened in multiple lifetimes. But when we go there, she say, what my baby want to eat? I got some fried chicken and cornbread squares. And I go into the kitchen, and it's always a bowl with some fried chicken and some cornbread covered up with a towel on the counter. I remember that multiple lifetimes. Then, like 2 lifetimes ago, I remember going to my big mom house. She was in the swamp. I thought it was odd. She ain't in the swamp no more. She's living in New Orleans, in the city limit. That's odd for my big mom, right? But she still had the fried chicken and the cornbread squares on the countertop. That's for the visitors to come through, because they had no bag of chips. Well, no, let's go get some Doritos and some Suzy Q. What, none of that. Right? And the real treat was called sweet bread, but it was really made like cake batter, but it was fried on top of the stove like a pancake, but it wasn't a pancake. Right? And that gave rise to common white bread being called sweet bread. But I remember a lot of that stuff. I remember in past lives walking through the nighttime streets of New Orleans with my mama holding my hand. And when I went back to New Orleans, you're talking about a flood of memories. I didn't know what I was going through. I thought I was going literally insane. Because at the time, I was like 17, 18 years old. And I'm like, what is this? Right? And it took me years to figure out what it was I was seeing.
You was having flashbacks of past lives when you went there. Damn, man. Rod. You be always, man, I be having a good time talking to you, man. Rod, you be saying some shit, boy. I be having a good time talking to you, man. Let's get to some more questions, Rod. Let's get to some more questions. Uh, Somebody said, "Will the black aliens help us?"
They not gonna help us or hurt us. They not here for all of us. The ones on Earth is responsible to help the ones on Earth. The ones leaving Earth is responsible to get the fuck on. And the ones that's leaving, all I can say is arrivederci. It was nice having you here, and it's even nicer to see you leave. You all stayed your welcome,
Mm-hmm.
and now we want to go back to Earth life as Earth is supposed to be.
Mm. Let's get to this next question, Ron. What is the symbolic significance of the Trump and Putin meeting?
Oh, that was all cold. So it's a power play. The most two powerful nations on the planet, two of the three actually. China number 3. But the flying of the F-15, right?
Mm-hmm.
F-15 is cold. Flip 555. That means flip the change.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody was focused on the meeting, but wasn't nobody focused on the F-15 that flew over Putin's head. Because this is telling them to flip the change, which also coincides with the arrival of the National Guard in D.C. Right? Because now it's time to flip the change. It's all turned around now. 555 means it's all turned around. 5 is initiating the change. 55 is changing. 555 means it's done changed. And the F-15 means flip the 15, flip the 3 5s.
Okay. Let's get to some more questions. Somebody said, "Why Alaska?" That's where they had to meet at. That's where they had to meet at in Alaska.
It's a black pyramid in Alaska. And it's Alaska was purchased from Russia by the United States. I think it was for $1 million. And because it was attached to the landmass over here. So Alaska, in some people's mind, is still part of Russia.
What's that black pyramid? You gotta explain that one. What is it?
It's an ancient black pyramid in Alaska. Do you remember when La Palma was about to blow, and then the Army Corps engineers kept back blasting holes to hold off the lava flows to keep it from blowing?
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, as soon as they found out where the third portal at, because it was a 3 portal jump. It had a Archon ship. It was going in a portal, and every time it come out of a portal, it'd disappear, but it was a missing portal. They could only catch it at one of the two, but when you go to the third one, they didn't know where it was at. Coming to find out, it was in right outside of Mexico in the Pacific Ocean. So once they identified the third one, instead of back blowing the lava flow, they closed the one in Alaska at the Black Pyramid. They dropped a bomb in the one in the Pacific, and then they backfilled all that lava into the Stargate that was on La Palma, and all that lava is in the in the wormhole with the ship. So now they can't get out the ship in the wormhole, and now they can't get out because all 3 Stargates is closed. Right. So the Black Pyramid was very instrumental. They also got a Black Pyramid in Antarctica, by the way.
Yeah, I heard about that one.
They huge.
Right. Family, don't spam the chat. I usually just ban people. I'm gonna put you in. Just don't spam the chat, fam. Don't ask the same question over and over and over and over. You're clogging up the chat. Please don't do that, family. All right. Somebody says it. Well, no, there was another question I want to ask you that I seen. Okay, here it goes. What do you think about the interstellar object discovered in our solar system? I heard Billy talk about it. I don't know what's going on. Have you heard about that, Rod?
There's a couple of them. It's more than one. One of them they are actually classifying as a newly discovered planet. Then they got several different. What some of them are supposed to be asteroids or meteors that's headed this way, but they
Oh,
still don't.
hold up, Ron. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Let me. That's what everybody's talking about. Hold on. Let me put this. That's why they keep asking me about this 3-eye atlas thing. That okay? Hold on. Let me share the screen. I'm gonna let you see the article right now, Rod. That's why people keep saying that. Hold up, Rod. Hold up. That's what y'all was talking about. All right. Thank you, family. That's the shit, man.
Yeah, asteroids. The average asteroid, you can measure it in miles per hour, not miles per second.
Second. Right. Okay. 38 miles a second. They said. So what ship? What Nibiru ship? What ship would you call that then?
No, that's not a mothership. That's a jumper ship. The jumper ships lead out ahead of the mothership. The mothership don't land until they get the report back. Okay, so they come in waves. Remember the drones?
Yeah.
Those are Dyson Sphere satellites,
Okay.
right? Okay, they come first. They survey, right? Before the main mothership that's coming come, the next wave they see after the orbs is the scout ships,
Right.
right? The scout ships don't necessarily have to land. They just have to survey everything going on and see how they reacted to. Then the next thing they come with the jumper ships would bring its actual personnel.
Uh huh.
Look, that's 2,280 miles per minute.
Whew.
That's called warp speed.
Mm.
That's called warp speed. That's not regular travel speed.
Oh man, y'all gonna have me look this up tonight, y'all. This okay. This sounding interesting, y'all.
Yeah. You see it on Star Trek. And they say, everybody get ready to go into warp mode.
Yeah.
Systems, systems activated. And all of a sudden they zoom in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a ship. That's not no meteor. But
Man.
they always classify ships as meteors and stuff like that as a form of concealment to the panic of the public.
Mm-hmm.
We don't give no damn about no ships coming here. Let them come on.
Mm.
What we gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody said, remember 2020? Trump kept saying military warp speed.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I
Uh,
know that stuff a coincidence. Everything they saying, everything they telling you, they giving you codes. We don't speak their language, and they don't speak ours. So when they be saying stuff, we panic because we think they mean something different. Like when they've been talking about the carbon footprint, they talking about everywhere we're all standing.
mm.
That's the carbon footprint where we standing. Ain't no
Mm-hmm.
carbon footprint in space. The
Mm-hmm.
whole space is carbon. So the
Mm-hmm.
carbon footprint got to be where the carbon being is walking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then because of the carbon footprint, they have to worry about global warming. Why they worried about global warming when they know that the sun cycle is coming in and you can't stop it? Because it's one of the four cycles of the 26,000 year elliptical, um, the movement of the Earth every 26,000 years, right? So they know that the sun cycle coming when they worried about global warming. They're not worried about the globe heating up intrinsically. They're worried about the spiritual heat up of the awakening of the ones with the carbon that can assimilate the highest frequency of waves. And the carbon has got to be settled in the neural network, and that they call neuromelanin.
Mm-hmm.
They be telling us the whole time, we don't know what they talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The greenhouse effect. What's the greenhouse effect? Right? They say the greenhouse effect is the heat inside of the atmosphere is getting higher than they can contain. It's the sun cycle. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a greenhouse effect. We ain't no greenhouse. We on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So they be talking about all kind of stuff in codes. We see headlines in the newspaper. We don't see the same headlines that the elite see. the elites might be reading the acronym while you reading the word,
Mm.
right? And then the picture gonna tell them how to interpret the acronym. The no picture is gonna tell them a different way to interpret it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You got a headline with no photos. Oh, that's a whole different story now. And now you got to read inside of the story and know which way to count the words in order to find the code. That's all CIA, MI5, Mossad, MI6, KGB stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they all got the same code system. They just use it different at different times for different purposes. But all of the espionage codes is the same
Mm-hmm.
because the spy network is all connected
Mm-hmm.
and rooted in Switzerland, tied to the bootleg.
Somebody said, get this, brother Rich and Rod. The 3i Atlas mothership is targeted to be behind the sun in September or November. Wow.
Remember I told you between September and October?
This getting good, y'all. See, y'all talk. I had no idea about this, y'all. Oh man, okay.
There's so much going on. I can't even remember everything to tell y'all right now. It's so much because it's like I see it, and then I might not even. It might not come back to mind till an hour after the show, Rich. And I'm like, oh man, I should have told Rich this.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah, because they said it was going toward the sun. Wow.
Look, if you go on my page right now, some lady took a picture on her telescope of a ship with some baby ships sitting right next to the moon. And she ain't the only one. She's just the only one I posted. Let's see if I can find it.
Oh.
Can you read that?
The alien mothership and 2 smaller UFOs reported near the moon is stunning. Wow. It's stunning sky sighting. Wow. Damn. Damn, there's that much activity in the sky now, y'all?
Look, it been that much activity. That's not new. We just now getting the opportunity to come with photographs of it because most of us wasn't using that technology until the last couple of years. Now you got what they call citizen astronomers, civilian astronomers with telescopes that have been going to observatories for years and all that stuff, how to read that stuff. But now their hobby is become a news channel for us.
Uh-huh. Rod, I remember. Let me ask you an opinion about this because we mentioned Elijah earlier, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad earlier, and I remember Dr. Wesley Muhammad was on the show and he talked about I think when Neil Armstrong went to the moon or somebody, I think it was Neil, they heard the Muslim prayer being on the moon. Do you know anything about this? The Muslim prayer on the moon?
Oh, well, let's just say with Neil Armstrong, who landed on the moon in 1960s, but 6, 7.
Yeah.
If he heard the Muslim prayer, it was in the adjacent movie studio right next to him. So it's a total possibility they could have been filming. What's that Charleston Heston movie?
You said a movie studio.
That's where it was at. Come on, man! Look at that contraption. They said they flew to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
It got a flimsy door, a cloth door. Come on, in outer space, a cloth door. It got wires on it that you can actually see now. But back then, our minds were so fascinated about the prospect of going to the moon that we couldn't even see the wires that they was using.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And the nigga that was filming was on the moon before Neil Armstrong.
Right.
Otherwise, who was filming? Where was he at?
Yeah.
Ain't no stars in the background. They should be bright as hell if you on the moon. Well, all that stuff is relevant.
Well, let me ask you this now. All right, you're not buying the moon thing. Let me ask you this about the ships in the sun. What happens, Rod? Because some people say the sun is a portal. The sun is all types of different names. People say, um, if a ship goes right through the sun, where's it at, Rod? If you had a ship, me and you in the ship, and we fly right through that mother effing sun, where are we once we go through that sun, Rod?
You know, I don't think that it's that kind of portal.
Uh huh.
But the Anunnaki's history say that they do know how to go into the center of the sun and make it habitable on the inside, and they know how to enter and exit, which is ironic because this lady Gina Coben was videoing the sun with her telescope up close about a week ago, and we seen a series of ships coming out of the sun,
Uh huh.
and they was parking. They wasn't just going nowhere; they was just lining up.
Right. Somebody says, should we still be sun gazing, Rod?
That's a personal preference. You should still be doing anything you think gonna help you advance in this life. If you don't think it's gonna help you learn, don't do it.
Mm,
If you think you can benefit from it, do it. You don't need nobody outside you to tell you that.
right.
You just gotta remember to tell yourself, I'm gonna benefit from this, so that's what I'm doing. I'm not gonna benefit from this, but that's not what I'm doing.
And I was out in that sun for about an hour today, man. I'm proud because I usually don't get to go out there that much, but I got about a whole hour out there today, man.
And I went for a walk when we was having a shooting resonance blast and a solar flare at the same time. I think it was last Tuesday. Man, I got down to the lake. Man, I was getting so much energy I couldn't even stand up.
Yeah.
I was catching it. Man, I was catching it.
Yep. Yeah. Let's keep this. This is a real good show, y'all. Oh man, thanks for telling me about that 3 Eye Atlas thing, family. Yeah, I gotta get me a telescope and a microscope. I gotta get both of those. Thanks for I'm gonna keep
Talking about a whole new world opening up. Either
yeah,
one. But if
yeah.
you get both of them, you going because as above, so below. You're gonna be surprised how much microscopic activity mimics stellar activity.
Mm, right. All right. Let's wow, this is a good show here. Let me see. Uh let me see if oh, I got a super chat question here. All right. How much strength is my positive projections potential to help stop violence against innocence? That seems to be all I could do for now through my mind's projections, collective projections power as well.
Well, every time you can get two people to agree with you on that, it increases it by 100-fold. So, um, your positive projections is always a, a benevolent addition to what we experience. So, if that's all you got to offer, that's all you got to offer. That might be your job. Your spiritual assignment is to project your positive potentials to stop the violence against the innocents. There's a whole lot of us on that same frequency, by the way.
Mm,
So you just expanding the bandwidth.
indeed. All right, let's get to this next super chat. What are the shadowy figures and objects seen in our peripheral, and how should we deal with it?
Ask them who they are and what they want and why they're there. And anybody that refuses to answer you is not allowed to stay.
Mm,
Anybody that's not there for your best good, for your highest good, you're not allowed to stay. And you'll be surprised the ones that stay will be able to communicate with you. And you can ask them who they are. Most of the time, it's just your ancestors.
mm,
But some of your ancestors was a piece of shit too, because when I went through it, I found some man that was a piece of shit.
mm,
So all our ancestors weren't good people.
mm. What somebody reminded me in the chat, Rob? What is the best way to donate to you to send love and support for all the work and effort that you do? What's the best way
Um,
right now? Because I know it changed. What's the best way right now,
yeah.
Rob?
Well, my Cash App is back operational. My Cash App is $ capital SIK capital APE. My PayPal is at SIK801, which is the same as my Cash App. It's at 01 on PayPal. That's how you can donate.
Let me hold on. Let me just post the Cash App real quick. That was hold up. Give me 1 second, yo. Yeah, if anybody who wants to show Rod some support, we got about 4,000 of y'all in here. You know, we should do we should make a statement tonight, man. 4,000 of us send Rod $2 each. Imagine that. Imagine we move like that, a unit like that. Imagine if 4,000 of us show the brother love. And I love showing people love who contribute to my growth and development. It ain't nothing to me. We are emanations of prime source. So damn, that'd be dope if we. Okay, I see you. I think this is you. Well then, I missed two. Damn, I missed a couple of super chats. All right. Well, I'm gonna get to these super chats that are here, and I gotta get off the show, y'all. Has Rod or anybody seen the leaked Hollow Earth video with the black statue?
I haven't personally seen it, but I've seen photographs of the Hollow Earth. But I didn't see the black statue.
Okay. Dr. Bliss told his story about the encounter with aliens. He said they were brothers. Okay.
Yeah, he met him at a ufology convention. He's a two of them.
Indeed. All right. As a priest and messenger, can you speak to the importance of marrying the spiritual knowledge with actual scholarship?
That's like a contradiction. The hard part is the scholarship is linear logic. The spiritual knowledge or spiritual wisdom is abstract. So you have to explain an art piece to somebody, a Picasso painting, a Tupac song, a Sam Cooke song. You have to reinterpret the song where somebody who doesn't have the spiritual insight can follow the scholastic method to interpret the artistic expression. That's the closest way I could tell you about marrying it. It's like translating a foreign language into the common language.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. All right, let's keep this thing going. We're gonna do two more, then we're gonna get out of here. Two more, then we're gonna get out of here. Thoughts on the Northern Appalachian anomaly? Respect, Brother Rich and Brother Rod.
I'm not familiar with what just took place in the Appalachians. I think he's making reference to a current event, but I haven't. I don't remember exactly what I ran across about it, so it didn't really catch my attention.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, a lot of y'all showing that's dope. I see people in the chat. A lot of people showing Cash App love. Let's make this a movement. You know what I'm saying? People come on my channel. Listen, man, we support the gods and goddesses that come on this channel. I take care of the gods and goddesses. That's part of my job. Rod is humble. He ain't gonna mention money like that. I'ma mention it though. I'ma mention it. I'm a money god, so I'm wealth. So I'ma mention it. Support my brother. Thanks for reminding me, y'all. Yeah, that's the Cash App $SIK8. Somebody said they gave $20. Yeah, show my brother love. I like to hear that. Yeah, I like to hear that. Let's do shout to the in the chat. Let's do one more question. Then we're gonna get out of here. Give me a good one, y'all. Come on, give me a good one, y'all. Oh, okay. You know, I actually thought this, y'all. I thought this earlier. I'm glad you asked this. Is AWA some way connected to ayahuasca? I thought that earlier, but it just, it slipped my mind. I'm glad you asked that.
I don't know if they directly related, but I know we're on the ayahuasca retreat that you can access ayahuasca in the ayahuasca ceremony. She ain't the only one you can access though. But you can access ayahuasca through the ayahuasca ceremony.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, thanks for asking that. When we was talking about it, I had thought that, and it slipped my mind. Thanks for asking that. I really appreciate that. Let's do one more. Let's do one more, and then we're gonna get out of here. Somebody said I need a good drink right now. I need a good drink right now. I hear you. I hear you. Somebody said, does ICE and deportation serve the people of the land as a spiritual sign?
Yeah, ice on the land. It's ISIS on the land. And the deportations is the cleanup of it's really the control measure of the borders through the transitional phase. ISIS on the land, um, clearing the land of the ones who belong somewhere else at the close of the age. Um, Spiritually speaking, that's what it looked like to me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. All right, all right. All right, listen, man, we're going to get out of here now, man. I done had Rod on here for 2 hours, man. Rod, I want to thank you once again, brother, for coming on the show, man. We've been doing this for a couple of years now, Rod. We've been doing this for about, what is it, 2025? For about 3 years now, right? I think.
Yeah,
Yep.
you going in. I remember when you first heard this, you was looking at me like this nigga sound crazy.
Oh, man, that first
And
show.
then when you start seeing stuff coming to reality, you was like, man, what in the world? Where you come from?
I remember somebody sent me your stuff on Facebook, and I was like, yo, I got to get this dude on my channel. I remember that's the first time I seen you. It was on, I don't think you wasn't on YouTube. You wasn't doing interviews.
I was on Instagram.
Yeah, you wasn't on YouTube. I actually bought Rod to YouTube, family. I said that before. And
Young Elder.
Young Elder?
Yeah.
What year Young Elder brought you to YouTube? What year was it?
Man, about 6 months before you.
Wow.
Me and Young Elder had did a few shows already. By the way, he said he was under the weather. He's supposed to be doing something with you. He told me to tell you that he was under the weather. He said, but as soon as he's feeling better, he gonna holler at you.
Gotcha. Yeah, we gonna do a good one. We got a good one lined up. Shout out to Young Elder. We got a good one lined up, and he'll be on here probably within. He told me he wasn't feeling well, probably within the next week, y'all. So shout out to the brother, Young Elder.
I just sent him down so many rabbit holes.
Oh man, I could imagine. I could imagine.
He's like, Rod, how you put all that stuff together like that, man?
Yeah. Together. Rod, what message you want to leave the people with as we get out of here, Rod? What message you want to leave us with?
I already told him what to look for. You know, ain't nothing left to say, but watch it play out from here. Get your popcorn and don't participate in none of their shenanigans. Because they're gonna try to lure you in the street to protest, to riot, and all that. The ones that do it, let them do it. But the ones that wise, stay out them people way.
Mm-hmm.
The National Guard coming in because we got to get rid of these fake ass police. And the whole structure has to change. And you can't get rid of the police because we used to police so much that we need somebody on our side to replace them. But they not gonna be playing. You know, they not gonna be playing with nobody. So just stay out their way. Let them clean this stuff up. I'm gonna be happy to get rid of the police. FTP. You know, that's my motto. So if they don't belong here, we don't need them here. They in the way. They the cause of the crime. You take away crime, what they gonna eat? What the prosecutor gonna eat? Right. What the defense attorney gonna eat? Take away crime, what the judge gonna do?
Yeah.
Well, we didn't have crime before they came. Right? We had people that made mistakes, and we had elders that corrected them. That's that simple. We had people that made mistakes and elders that corrected them. Now, if your elder get caught correcting them, they can go to prison and be classified as a domestic terrorist for teaching people how to live on their own 2 feet. That's what Larry was in there for all this time. He wasn't in there for being no criminal. They said that the original crime Larry Hoover went to prison for is because who he was so potent that the person who committed the crime was hypnotized by his presence and couldn't help himself.
Yeah, that is crazy.
That's retarded.
That is crazy.
They never said Larry gave the order. They never said he told him what to do, who to do it to, none of that.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy that did the actual shooting been out since the 90s.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. But Larry, because they said his influence was so great, right? And since he was doing his fair time, the same law, the influence law that he was imprisoned has been repealed. Mm-hmm. They overturned the law that they used to send him to prison in the first place. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right? This is the same. The government creating the crime, lure you into it. That's entrapment. That's what Jeff Ford in there for. How you gonna try to buy a rocket launcher from prison, man? Make this shit make sense.
Crazy.
Right? And then it don't even work. And the people that's selling it is the government. That's called a entrapment. Lure them in with the bait, slam the gate. I can go on the political prisoner tirade for a whole 2 hours by itself.
I could imagine.
And naming names like Assata Shakur.
Yeah.
She ain't shot nobody. The police opened fire on her. She got shot. Right? You gotta remember, she's the only woman in the history of America that they put in a men's prison. Because they thought the men was gonna rape her to death. But they turned out to be her protectors. Mm-hmm. Right? So you gotta remember, these people is wicked. And no matter how wicked you think they is, you can't think wicked enough in order to grasp the depth of their wickedness.
Yeah, you said that last time, man.
You can't lower your mind's darkness to that level unless you crack your mind. They wicked. And they do it all in the name of the law.
Hey, man, listen, with that being said, Rod, I want to thank you. I want to thank everybody. We had a packed house in here tonight. Shout out to all of y'all for coming in the chat tonight. Tuning in. What a show. Amazing show tonight. Make sure y'all share this show with your friends and family. That's real important. Hit the like button.
When you be saying Skype at the North Gate.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, Rod don't ever correct him. It's sick ape. It's sick ape, but the country draw make you call me Skype ape. So,
yeah.
You know, city slicker, the country boy, we know what's up.
Yeah, hey.
Skype ape at the North Gate.
Hey, man, you better bob straight. You know
but then when you look at it, these classes is like going over Skype.
Hey, that makes sense.
So we using YouTube instead, so it still match.
Yeah.
So for the ones that it was kind of humorous, and I laughed a little bit, chuckled a little bit, and yeah. So I figured I'd mention it for them. Let them know we read the comments. We checking the pulse of the people.
Yeah, I read every single comment for the people that don't know. If you said something funny and you making a comment now, it ain't showing up. It's because you got the boot. If you disrespect the master teacher, Dr. Malachi York, he said something crazy about Rod. Now we'll take scrutiny, and what's the other word we're looking for?
Constructive criticism.
Yeah, criticism. We'll take that. But if you coming in and just to be mean, I'll put a boot on you. You know what I'm saying? Right in the crack. Right in the crack part.
Yeah, so, hey, we ain't. Most of those trolls they fell off though.
Yeah.
Because they see we ain't paying them no attention. We still gonna tell the truth.
Right. It's all good though. We just here to do what we gotta do and keep it going, man. Keep it moving because it's a lot we gotta get done as the government, as the continuity of government, the system change over. People got to be aware because knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. That's what we've been lacking. We perish for the lack of knowledge. That's what they said. So while so long we start putting the knowledge out, and then people start overstanding it in the collective mindset. It's game over. It's already really game over because there's enough of us already. But we just piling wood onto the fire. You know
Well, that's called process.
Yeah.
It's not instant.
Yeah.
This ain't oatmeal. This ain't quick grits.
Right.
And in order for us to get there, the transition has to go through what's called a process.
Right.
It's not a microwave meal. You don't pop it in 3 minutes later. You don't.
Right.
This is the shifting of geopolitics around the world.
Mm-hmm.
This is the restoration and reclamation of the righteous.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Spiritually speaking. Mm-hmm. This is the age of Aquarius, the age of knowing, the age of ascension, the dawning of a new age, a golden age. While we put it out in the public domain, because it's noticed the agent is noticed the principle. And when the sovereign speaks, he just say a thing. And then the people in the places responsible to carry out the order follow through. Mm-hmm. Right? They closing out the transitional government, which takes us into what this is about today, Elder. The transitional government, the republic, in order to give us back what's rightfully ours, have to first take back the republic from the corporate. The corporate is governed under the Uniform Commercial Code, which, when they abandoned Congress, put us under admiralty jurisdiction. They call that abandoned ship. Mm-hmm. Right? The ship can't operate, so they chartered the ship under an incorporated doctrine. Mm-hmm. The incorporated doctrine holds them under Uniform Commercial Code in Admiralty and Maritime. Mm-hmm. The abandonment of Congress is the abandonment of ship, meaning that everybody that was on the ship is presumed dead and lost at sea. That's right. Civilly mortis. Mm-hmm. So because of that, everybody is classified from the land as black in law. Okay. That means they are on the defense on the chessboard. They are the ones that was presumed dead and lost at sea, even though we walked among the living. But we walked as the straw man and not the true man. And we didn't know that the true man was the man in the show. Mm-hmm. The Truman Show, where everything that he did throughout his life was recorded, and he didn't know that he was in a simulation, an artificial environment. To become aware of the dream in the dream gives you full control of the dream. Now you can use the dream to make reality bend to the will of the strong will. Mm-hmm. Right? We have to be equally as willing to lift up the downtrodden as we is to chop down the high and mighty. Mm-hmm. If we become favorable to one over the other, then we all suffer. Mm-hmm. But when you come with true justice and an even-handed approach, this is why we're going into Libra next. The claws of the Scorpio that protects the Virgo, right? That's seen over by the stinger. So the justice comes in during Libra as the final phase of the shutdown, timed by 3-eye Atlas as a stellar clock to let you know what the universe is doing. Mm. An anomaly appears straight out of a Rakim song. Follow me when you was thinking you was first. Let's travel at magnificent speeds around the universe. What could you say as the earth gets further and further away? The planets are small as balls of clay. You stray into the Milky Way, worlds out of sight, far as the eye can see, not even a satellite. But now stop and turn around and look. As you stare in the darkness, your knowledge took. But keep staring, cause soon you suddenly see a star. You better follow it, cause it's the R. Right? Follow the leader. So the star comes in out of nowhere. Keep staring, cause soon you suddenly see a star. Coming from out of nowhere, 3-eye atlas. And on the heels of the 3-eye atlas comes the R. The A to the K I am. And if I wasn't, then why would I say I am? So it becomes a catalyst for the revelation of truth. So for the Republic to give back to the people what's rightfully theirs, they have to first wrestle it from the hands of the Admiralty Maritime jurisdiction and reclaim back the constitutional right from the charter right. The charter right is a corporate charter, an artificial constitution that's used in the place of the true constitution.
Right.
The Constitution written in the blood of Crispus Attucks is the secondary constitution used to recharter the corporation that put us under the spell of sleep again. As the blood fades on the contract, it got to stay in power of approximately 200 years. When you don't maintenance the conjure, it causes a disruption.
That's right.
It resets the conjure. War 1812.
That's right.
Right? So that gives us to 2012 instead of 1976. But the revolutionary spirit, 1976, of the bicentennial still remains. The spirit to change a thing back to what it was. It's the 360-degree turn, but it's only on the 180 pivot. Because a 180 was already flipped. That's how the last became last when they once was first. And this is why the last must return to the position of first. Alpha meets Omega. The beginning meets the end. Right? So when Big Mama returned, that's the Omega mother. She crowns the Alpha male as the Queen Mother. She puts the crown on his head and she selects who sits next to him as the queen on the throne. She's the Queen Mother, mother of the king. So then upon the coronation of the king, then you restore all of the kingdom. But we're trying to bring the kingdom of heaven down to earth instead of suffering hell on earth.
Right.
So you have in place, you have your trump card, right? Your big joker, Donald J, right? Donald the Duck. So they telling us in code what's going on, so you would know how to see it, but they put it in parody and comedy. The laugh now, cry later scenario. But if we cried then, guess who turn it is to laugh?
Right.
See, so turnabout is fair play, but that's only at 180 degrees. But that's the last 180 degrees of the 360 that was already turned from the beginning. The top was at the bottom and the bottom was at the top. But when you take another 180, now you have the bottom on the bottom and the top on the top. Back to the way things supposed to go. The matriarch sits on her throne. And it's through the mother that the son is crowned king. It's through Isis that Horus becomes Osiris. The son becomes the father. Right? And that's why the father and the son are one. Right? But the mother and the father are one too, because the mother played the father in his absence. Right? But she learned from the father how to administer the father's side to the son. In other words, she learned from a good man how to teach her son how to be a good man. without
Right.
taking him from being who he is.
Right.
Right? So we appoint the people, but we put the information out for the public to be able to wake up to the nonsense. So now the government shut down, they doing all this other stuff. They just took $2 billion from those findings to fund the food stamp program while the government shut down. Now remember, the food stamp program, it won't be necessary after the flip because everybody have access to food.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll be encouraged to be part of a co-op with a family farm. So you'll be getting fresher food directly from the farm with no processed ingredients in it. Because we're going to lose the grocery stores, especially the big chains. We might go back to catalog shopping because Walmarts and Myers might shut down. Right? The banks are going to be turned over to the new system under the United States Treasury as opposed to the Federal Reserve. The United States Treasury constitutionally can only coin and mint money of gold and silver. That's why the fiat notes was produced under the Federal Reserve, because the Federal Reserve was a private bank. And they could issue IOUs to all of their constituents, those who have an account. And the IOU circulate as currency. And they use a system of levy and liens. That's a debt-based system in order to finance the circulation of the currency with substance. So they use in the demand, the IOU, in order to make you surrender the material thing that they want. But they put it in the terms of bills and notes so that they can catalog and account for how much of it they're using. This is new bankers. So the corporation been closed. We've been watching political satire play out in DC as a grand production, political production. That was a whole cover story to counter a coup.
Go ahead.
Right? And this is why during his speech to the military, Donald J. said I was 45, 46, and 47. But I don't want to take the credit for 46. So he was telling you that even though the political satire ran the chapter called Sleepy Joe, it was a way for him to get 3 terms of action before he leave office, but by only officially serving 2 terms. Because he was a coup intercept that allowed them to allow the conspirators, the participants in the coup, to expose themselves by pretending that you don't know it's a coup while you record everything they doing to establish the coup. Then you send your military in to subdue them. Go out, and now they got to go into major cities, what they call critical hotspots. So ISIS requested police backup in Chicago because they was uniform in distress. And the chief of police or somebody, the mayor or somebody, told them to stand down. Don't go give them support. Meanwhile, they were running commercials. ISIS trying to give incentive to police officers to lead a force before the final clampdown, because all these police officers were going to jail. Because they are the military arm of the occupying police state that's not even supposed to be here. They invaders. They not chartered out of the country. They chartered from London. So they was under what they call Crown Holdings Corporation as a nonprofit, right? So they coming from out of Buckingham Palace with jurisdictional authority to police the land while it's under salvage jurisdiction. And to return all of the wealth from the land back to the crown as seized assets from a sunken vessel. And we're going to open up museums to show you where all of the sunken vessels' wealth was stored at. We're going to put it on display because it had to be visible to the public in order for it to have value. So they took it out the tombs, the sacred sites, and put it into the financial institutions under the false pretenses of education and erudition, so that they can financially capitalize off everything that we've been doing for thousands of years. The side effect is they didn't think that we would ever recognize who we were in ancient times when we're the same people we've always been. Noble Drew Ali say you are what your ancestors were without a doubt or contradiction.
Yes.
So once you realize that how many ancestors had to be in the exact spot for you to be here, then you understand the divergent coming into the convergent. Right? It's a funnel effect for the one to return on a particular bloodline to remedy by speaking the word to the winds, Ezekiel, and making the dry bones stand up to an exceedingly great army, meaning the mentally dead, blind, deaf, and dumb, as taught by Elijah Muhammad, is who the Valley of the Bones is, right? And where the Valley of the Bones is, you ain't supposed to speak directly to the bones because they can't move. But if you speak to the winds, it'll make the bones begin to shudder, and they'll stand to be an exceedingly large army, right? So now you look around and you see the patterns that they describing is emerging as we take over the algorithm with we always been here.
Right.
Y'all all Johnny come late. Y'all came after the fact. We are the fact that y'all came after. Right? So y'all just a well-dressed lie, but we the naked truth. We don't care whether you give our clothes back or not. You're going to look at this naked truth in the public, out in the open, in front of everybody's face. Roll the corn, Elder.
This where it get good at. We're gonna get now. That's where we get to the class because I'm glad you got that off because that gave people time to get in before we get down really into the important parts of the class. And like he said, notice the ages is notices all the time. But I didn't ever think about when we was in school that it says I pledge allegiance to the republic for which it stands, not the Democrats, not no other party. No, all this other stuff they're talking about. It's this a republic? Could you go in on that?
So what they're talking about as the republic for which it stands, the republic is the constitutional government that delegates was elected for that made up the original Congress. Right? That was the republic. Remember, the republic failed 2 times. Under Washington, it failed when it was usurping the Continental Congress. The only reason why they called George Washington the first president is because they switched from the Constitution of the Continental Congress, which was called Articles of Confederation, which was the original Constitution. That Constitution still stands because it's grandfathered in because it predates the U.S. Constitution. And no legal authority has ever repealed it or said that it was in error. So it stands as grandfather law, right? If you know how to use it. The same with the Iroquois Confederate papers, the Hadassah Treaty. It's also grandfathered in because it's never been repealed or overturned in competent law. So it's under the grandfather law. So the grandfather clause say that a law that hasn't been overturned is active until somebody addresses it and put it in recorded that it's been overturned. None of those things happen. When they switched from the Continental Congress to the U.S. Constitution was phase one of the usurpation of corporate fiction in the place of the People's Republic. So Washington, remember, he came in as a wartime president. He was a General George Washington. He assumed command of all of the militaries of what they call the Union forces. And they became the United States of America at that time. Now, at that time, we had already been through 13 years of Continental Congress reign with at least 8 different indigenous leaders being elected president. It was because of this that they had to switch us over to corporate. Then again, after Lincoln assassination, Congress fled, which left the vessel afloat at sea because Turtle Island floats on the ocean. So it's considered as a movable vessel in maritime law. But the land rights, once restored, become the common law. This is why Donald the Duck, Donald John Quavius, that's why he said that if you've been together, living, cohabiting for 5 years or longer, you're married, period. That was under the common law. He's taking us from the admiralty back to the law of the land. Under the common law, you didn't need a wedding to be married because you didn't have to be certified through the state as a qualified applicant. Remember, the old marriage certificates required a blood test for blood compatibility and breeding the offspring. Eugenics, right? And then they went from that to just recording the offspring because they came up with drugs where the Rh negative and Rh positive won't cause a negative side effect and the woman can carry the baby to term. Right? Using medical intervention. And from there, now they cloning the mind. The union of the people is the union of corporations in the form of marriage. So you go back to the common law. The common law goes back to what they say in genders. You should leave thy mother and father, cleave to thy wife, and y'all should become one flesh.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's telling you about the matrilineal system. The land rights is inherited through the mother line.
Mm-hmm.
Rulership rights is inherited through the father line. When the father line has to be activated by the mother line in order for him to rule in his time. Once he's been activated, then he steps into the position of prominence, the position of power, to reclaim what was stolen. So first they had to go back to the Republic form of law, because the Republic take you to the Constitution. From the Constitution, whether they go the Longhouse Treaty or whether they go Continental Congress, Articles of Confederation, becomes hot at that point. I mean, they become overly active because you reverse engineering the whole colonization process. It's the only way out to get it over with. So as you reverse engineer it, you see everything you've seen coming into the situation going out. You just got to realize it's going to be upside down and backwards. That means names going to be changed, people going to be switched from place to place from the beginning to the end. We came in under George Washington following the Continental Congress we leave out under George Herbert Walker Bush, who declared himself King George the First, with a Senate Select Committee recognizing him as the king of the land. By doing that, he activated wartime protocols for the military because it's considered a attempt to take over the government during the time of war. Right? So it's taking away the power from the people. So following that, you have your Continental Congress years being played out as your Clinton, Bush, Obama, and Donald Trump going in reverse engineer. Because remember, King George is still the king until they take his head. So that meant whoever was on sitting in the seat, if they didn't take his head, they was his puppet. So now you go back to the funeral room, you see the envelope, and everything starts to make sense.
That's right, Rod.
So we have to go back to the Republic first in order to give them what's owned by treaty by us, back to us. None of the treaties were supposed to last longer than the constitutional contract of 200 years.
That's what the conjure was. All right. That's what. Could you go in? That's the first question. Could you go in on the right to govern ourselves, and that's part of our sovereignty? And that's they saying that we don't know how to govern ourselves. That we savages. That's what the Pope said. The Pope said if they ain't Christians, they savages. So we got to govern. Go ahead. Could you go in on it?
So what you talking about? That was all instituted long before they invaded. In the 1300s, they started issuing those papal bulls that was licensing the tyrants of the church to start conquering lands. They started in Europe.
Right. That's right.
Right. The church was one of the most instrumental tools in the expulsion of the Moors from Europe, or as they say, Spain. Like, you got to remember, when